have quite a variety of people here for you today.
A cornucopia.
We have Kyle Hebert. Say hi, Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
And Kyle, what links you to DBZ?
What brought me to DBZ? Well, a character named Gohan. And everyone says, I love him in the Cell Saga. It's like, that's not me.
And we have next to him Monica Rial. What do you have to do with DBZ, Monica?
I play Bulma, who is the most patient woman in the world because she deals with Vegeta. She also gets drunk at parties, which is super fun.
We have Nick Landis.
Hi. How's it going, everybody?
What do you have to do with DBZ, sir?
Me and the gentleman next to me, who I'm sure you're going to introduce next, we produce a parody online known as Dragon Ball Z Abridged. A modicum of applause. Thank you very much. Crowd going mild and all of that.
You might know Nick better as, am I pronouncing it right?
Lanipator. Yeah. Don't worry, people butcher that all the time.
All right.
I made up a word, so I have to make up pronunciation too.
All right, awesome. Of course, he's already introduced his buddy Scott Frericks, otherwise known as Kaiserneko.
I'm kind of amazed. I believe half the time it's Kaiserneko, and I'm like, I'm not.
How does that happen at an anime con?
Right? Up your weeaboo game. So, yeah, I'm the editor for the series. I'm the voice director, co-writer.
Of DBZ Abridged.
Yeah, DBZ Abridged. I mean, this is Dragon Ball, man!
Yeah, no, we're talking Dragon Ball here.
Yeah. So, and I also play, in that I play King Kai, Trunks, Sarban, Birder, and a million other characters. Corny Androbe, Oolong, Turtle. So.
And moving over to the other side of the stage, we have Chris Rager.
Yo!
Hail Certainly for DBZ, Chris.
Satan, 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 Satan.
Hail Satan!
That's what I do. I am Hercule / Mr. Peyton, also King Yemma, leader of the underworld, and thanks to these guys, I now say mahogany.
That makes me happier than you quite understand.
Bringing back the season 1 drops.
Right, straight up.
And we have, last but not least, our other Chris Cason.
Hello. Thanks for being seated. Thank you. I directed Dragon Ball Z Uncut. I also assistant directed a little bit of Dragon Ball. I was the original Tien, Shinhan, and Mr. Popo, and I'm also Shu, the ninja dog from the movies and stuff, and super wink. Thank you.
So, let's get this started off. I know you're a good storyteller, Kyle. What got you into Dragon Ball Z the very first time?
Last time on Dragon Ball Z. Who did the thing?
You gave me my life.
I get that at cons. It's like, Johnny took a pee, and then he brushed his teeth. What will happen next? We go back to the year 2000. Had auditions. Heard about it through my radio connections, and I got very, very lucky. Saw the audition sides, and someone in the lobby goes, hey, pick whoever you want to read for. And there's a male notebook and a female notebook. So naturally, I picked up the female notebook. I quickly decided that my range, as wide as it is not that wide. So I pick up the male sides, and I'm like, the first one in there is Teenage Gohan. I'm like, yeah, I know who that is, because I was already a fan. But DBZ has been hearing in the States with the Canadian dub, like since '95, something like that. So I tried out for that, other bit parts. Eventually got hired like 2 weeks later to do bit parts on the Bardock special. And after Cell Saga, there's a little mini filler stuff and some bit parts in that. And then when Gohan goes to high school, they decided to say, we like you, Kyle. It's like, really? All right, check cleared. Okay, cool. And the rest is history.
different story because I joined the Dragon Ball universe in 2010. So my story is my brother was a huge Dragon Ball fan. In fact, before it ever came to the United States, we would go visit our family in Spain, and there was this show called Los Bolas de Dragón. My brother doesn't speak very good Spanish, so I would have to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Miguel. And I would have to translate Dragon Ball for him, and I would do all the different voices. This was before I ever got into voice acting. I should have known then. And then when I came back to the States, there was kind of a lag back then. The internet wasn't a thing. I know I'm a dinosaur. So, you know, things kind of lagged. So when we were over there, there were two things that were insanely popular, and that was Dragon Ball and the Macarena. And I was like, God, I hope those two things never make it to the United States. And then like a year later, hey, Macarena, and Dragon Ball came along, but I actually watched it with my brother, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I even bought him like the comforter set. He had like all the pillows and stuff. Yeah, he was this uber fan. So fast forward to 2010 when Chris Sabat brought me into the studio, and he's like, Monica, I want you to audition for something. And I was like, oh, okay, sweet, whatever. And I get in there and I was like, oh my God, I can't mess this up. And so I auditioned, and I didn't tell my brother, but then when Chris Sabat was like, hey, so we're gonna use you as Bulma and Kai in the new movies and stuff, and I called my brother and I was like, you cannot tell anyone because I will have to murder you. But I'm playing Bulma. And to hear my little brother on the other end of the line, like, oh my, and then all of these curse words together. I mean, you were already the coolest sister, but now you're like really the coolest sister because, oh my God, you're freaking Bulma. So to me, like, my life had meaning at that point. I'm like, oh. But yeah, I've absolutely loved her. It was fun getting to watch a character and then kind of pay homage in the beginning, like try to pay homage to what the original Bulma had done, and then kind of try to make it my own. And I'm super excited about Super. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't even mean to. But I'm super excited about Super because there's so much that I get to play with, and yeah, I'm excited.
Chris Rager, do you have a DBZ first-time story?
I do, I guess. My friend Mike McFarland, I was in a comedy troupe called Section 8 Comedy, and performed comedy with them and for many years. And Mike one day was like, hey, out in Fort Worth, they're paying people to do voices for cartoons. I was like, I want to get paid to do voices for cartoons. That sounds like a cool gig. So I went out and auditioned. Mr. Satan was on the docket that day. I took one look and thought, Hulk Hogan. I'll just mishmash some 80s wrestlers' intensity voices together and see what comes out. And they liked it. They called me back and said, you get to be Hercule. And I was like, cool. And then now my daughter calls him Broccoli Head. Do it. That's my story.
Just for some of those who are familiar with the 80s wrestlers but haven't heard the voice, can you do the voice for us?
Well, I can do it. Mr. Satan's voice or like Hulk Hogan's?
Mr. Satan.
Oh, okay. It's the same one. I didn't tell you. Mr. Satan often likes to say things like, well, I'm sick and tired of all these lights, shows, and tricks. If you want to fight Satan, you gotta fight me, Joe. Oh, yeah.
All right, before we move on to the three people who haven't answered this question, does anybody out there have a question for the panelists? Raise your hand. See one back there? Okay, after we've gotten the remaining three answers, I'll head back over to you. Chris, number one.
Yes?
Do you have a story about your first time with Dragon Ball Z?
I do. The year was 1998. Way back then. How many of you were not even born then? That's right, no one, because everyone here is old too. That's right. So, when you're an actor, you spend most of your time auditioning as opposed to actually getting the part. So you audition all the time. And I had a friend who said, hey, they're auditioning for these, actually I think what he said was, they're auditioning for these cartoons in Fort Worth, you should do it. I auditioned, it was fun, you should do it too. I said, okay. Or he might have said Japanimation back then, I don't know. And I said, okay, sure. So I drive to this scary looking frost bank building in the middle of nowhere, and a man with a dark, huge beard hands me a notebook full of crazy looking people. And I just pick as many as I can and audition for them.
Barry.
And there should be, and there should be a separate panel called The Jobs We Didn't Get. Because we all auditioned for all of it. Like, I auditioned for Krillin, I auditioned for Goku. I mean, we all auditioned for different things. And then I closed the notebook, I left, and I thought, what a dump, that'll never take. Because that place looked scary. So, and then I went and had lunch and didn't think about it, which is usually what happens after I have lunch. And then, 2 weeks later, I got a phone call.
Hi, this is Patty from Funimation. Patty, Terra 1.0. And I just want you to know that you got the part of Mr. Popo and Tien in Dragon Ball Z.
And I said, gobbledygook, lady, I'll be there. So I drove down and I got it. The person who tipped me off about it was a guy who was in a comedy troupe with, along with this guy right here, pre-Section 8, called Dead Comic Society. That's right. And that guy's name was Mike McFarlane, too. So Mike's the hub of the wheel, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
What a dick.
Right.
I mean, great guy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Scott, Nick, I'll let you tag team this one. Why are you doing parodies? Like, what started this?
Oh, that feels like a different question entirely. I thought this was our introduction to Dragon Ball, but okay. Just to get the introduction to Dragon Ball, I had possibly, like, as a current super fan of the series, I had probably the worst introduction to Dragon Ball you could possibly get. And it was when I was in elementary school, my friend was really into Dragon Ball. He was like trying to get me into it. And I'm like, okay, I was walking around a Blockbuster and I find just one of the Dragon Ball Z movies that was in stock. And I grabbed Tree of Might. That was the first thing I ever saw where you have Goku fighting an evil version of himself. And so I have like three characters that look distinctly similar. There was Goku, Yamcha, and Turles at that point. And I'm just like, I have no idea what's happening. And then Gohan turns into the giant ape. I'm like, you're losing me. It wasn't until years later that I first saw the Super Saiyan transformation scene, and that was when I got hooked. However, that also meant that the first full arc of the show that I saw was the Garlic Jr. saga. Somehow I stuck around and, well, I mean, like, what was your introduction?
Oh, my introduction was waking up at 6:30 in the morning to watch it in syndication on UPN.
Okay.
Back then it was really only airing in like two places in syndication, like UPN and like some other channel in Chicago and California. CW. Yeah, CW, or well, WB at the time. And the crazy thing was, I absolutely loved it. It was the Ocean cast for a Funimation production. Nobody knows that old Ocean cast was still a Funimation production. It's crazy. But I fell in love with it. I started looking up it online. I looked it up like as many things as I could. Found out what happened past those 52 episodes they kept looping and like over and over. And you know, I found the Japanese version and I found GT and I was obsessed because
there's a fourth Super Saiyan?
You're right. And so I just really wanted to learn more and more about the show. I bought the original 3 movies that Pioneer helped produce. I bought fan subs from the Ontario Mills Mall that was near me. I bought everything that I could that like my dad would give me money for. And really what ended up happening was, there's always going to be the sub-dub debate. And when I was a kid, you were all garbage.
Well, I mean, technically I wasn't there, so...
Yeah, she's excluded.
Totally kidding.
No, when you're a kid and you're like, the Japanese version's the only version, and then you're just kind of a like total asshole about it.
You were that guy?
Oh yeah, no, I hate
At least you can admit it and be like, hey, I was
God,
totally that guy.
no, when you're a little kid and like all these people are like, oh, they're replacing the original art, and it's total BS, but it's what you believe, and I wanted to actually be a voice actor so I could do better. And now here I am.
You're like the one that actually did it. Yay!
No, actually, and honestly, over the years, I watched the entire cast, like not just for Dragon Ball, but for Funimation, become the best. Personally, I feel like the best company that's actually dubbing anime in the United States right now. So
Gosh, you guys.
I came from very little shit beginnings to actually really respecting the company that I currently am also doing work for. So
Funny that. Wow, amazing how doing work for them makes you respect them more.
hey, it's the other way around, asshole.
Anyway, how we got into the parody is like flash forward to like just after the like first big Toonami era ended, and you know this crazy little thing called Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged Series pops up online. Some of you are probably familiar. Needless to say, it inspired quite a few people, including ourselves. Eventually, like, you know, we all started off with our own individual projects. I started off with a Yu Yu Hakusho abridged. He did a Lupin the Third. Eventually, we made some friends. We all came together, decided Dragon Ball Z was the show that, like, we all felt like a kind of a kinship for. And it's been a big part of our lives, especially since then. But we've all been huge fans, and honestly, like the reception that everybody has had to it, including many of the professionals that we've met and all of you lovely people that show up to the panels that we have, who show up and watch every video that we put out, it's been fantastic. Yeah, that's basically how we got into the parody side of it.
Yeah, and again, Dragon Ball's always been really close to my heart ever since I was a kid. So the idea that I even get to be up on stage with these people over here is...
No, tell me this 10 years ago, I'd laugh in your face.
Well, you tell me this 10 years ago and I'd probably not stop screaming.
Do we have anybody else who has a question? All right. What is your name, sir?
My name's Jesse Perkins.
And what's your question?
It is for Chris Rager. How does it feel to play the greatest hero in the Xenoverse?
I'm glad you pointed that out, sir. It feels good to be the champ. You know? On one end, you get to be big, bombastic, you know, sort of settle and calm the minds of the people of Earth so they don't freak out at the fact that people are flying around, shooting laser beams out of their hands, and we're all gonna die! So, yeah, you know, I feel like saving the world 3 times now. I mean, really, if you think about it, I think the true message Akira Toriyama is trying to tell us all here is that Satan is your savior. And we should all hail Satan. Just my personal observation.
Does anybody else have a question? You have a question there? You have a question there? Excellent. What is your name, sir?
I'm Matt.
And what's your question?
This is more towards Scott and Lanny, but anyone can answer it. As a fan of basically every person on the stage right now, it can be at times kind of nerve-wracking for us to talk to you guys. And so I want to ask, have you ever had like a fanboy moment?
I did once. And this was at the premiere for a, I think it was, the name of the movie was My Name is Bruce, for Bruce Campbell's like little, like, it was supposed to be like his little Evil Dead offshoot little comedy movie. And Bruce Campbell was at the event, and I've been a huge fan of Bruce Campbell for years. And he did like a little Q&A before the movie, and then like the trailer started rolling, like, okay, I need to run to the bathroom and grab some popcorn before I do that. And when I enter the bathroom, somebody enters in behind me and walks up to the urinal next to me. You know, like, being a guy, you keep the focus straight forward. But of course, I need to, like, no, okay, you know, let's just take a look at the guy. Holy shit, Bruce Campbell's next to me. And I almost twisted aside, like, holy shit. And I was, oh crap, I'm going. And he was like, I'm like, holy shit, sir, I'm a huge fan. He was like, oh, thanks. Like, I'd ask for an autograph, but I don't really have any snow. And I made him laugh, which to this day is still one of my finest accomplishments as a human being. That was my, like, I never really thought I'd be like that kind of person that I couldn't keep my cool in front of somebody that I admired, but that was the one moment that proved that to be entirely false.
Actually, for me, when we started doing the convention circuit, you know, we were getting access to the green room. Youmacon was our first convention.
Thank you, by the way.
And there came to a point where, you know, if you're a guest at the convention and you're up in the green room, other guests come through. And so, considering this was about 7, almost 8 years ago, I was not anywhere close to professional. We were still just kind of doing this as a hobby, and I had never done professional voice work. So I'm sitting in a room with a bunch of really cool voice actors, and I don't know what to do because I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that kid who's like,
I love your work. Can you sign my,
just being the dude in the green room doing that.
oh, I love you in this show, and this show, and this show, and this show, and please come back. So yeah, no, it's happened. It happened a couple of times. Heck, every once in a while, I'll be in at Funimation, and a voice actor that I grew up with just kind of walks by, and I have to kind of double check that. Oh, hey, I'm actually kind of living. I'm not just a fan, but I'm doing a job that I've always wanted to do. So there are those.
Good for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Made it happen. That's awesome.
I really do want to hear, because one of my favorite things about doing cons, when I get to spend time with all the voice actors and celebrities, not that the voice actors aren't the celebrities, but when I get to spend time with you guys, I love hearing the stories of how these idols, these icons, fanboy out on other idols and icons. Do any of you have a particular story about that?
I haven't met Robert Downey Jr. yet, but when I do, I'll let you know how that goes. You didn't hear that, baby. He's not listening. What about you guys?
Gosh, I usually internally fanboy a lot. When I go to, especially the Comic-Con type shows where you see like the George Takeis, the Stanleys and all that, and I've seen them, but I've been too shy to go up because I'm afraid it was going to, just start speaking in tongues. But I realize the clock's ticking on Mr. Lee, so maybe I should hurry up and do that soon.
No doubt.
Right?
By the way, after you're done with this, I have a George Takei story that I'd love to tell because it just reminded me of that.
Oh my.
One time we were in LA performing out the Hollywood Improv, and we were there meeting some production companies and stuff, and we went to this breakfast joint that was inside a Best Western, oddly enough, but apparently it's a hot little breakfast joint inside this Best Western. And we sat down at the table, and caddy corner to us, sitting at the table just like this, was Gary Oldman. And I did kind of have you grab the table and go, holy shit. It's freaking Gary Oldman, dude. And then you just, calmly try to eat your breakfast and don't go say anything, but it is like, it's Gary Oldman.
One of the cool things about being a guest at a con is, meeting your fellow guests if you don't know them. And I was at a con once and I got to meet one of my voice acting heroes, which was Billy West. And it was so cool because to me, he's right up there. I mean, he's like a modern day Mel Blanc to me. He's it's in rarefied air. He's one of those few that can really do it all. And to just meet him and talk to him casually like that was like, you do everything I love. So there was that. And it was really cool to hang out with him at the con. So I loved it.
Yeah, actually, Kineticon is just a convention where we keep...
Your George Takei story, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, and, we've run into Jim Cummings, Richard Horvitz.
I love Jim.
Oh, no,
So much.
Jim Cummings is my favorite dirty grandpa.
Oh, I know. He does the Winnie the Pooh voice, and I went to Australia at a con with him, and every time he'd walk by, I'd be like, oh, hey, how are you doing? And the Winnie the Pooh voice, it was crazy. Sorry, anyway, I love him.
So we're at Kineticon, and we're going to this place. What was it? Tony Montana?
There's like this Montana bar and grill.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, no,
Good burgers.
Yeah, best burgers.
Not best, good.
Okay, in that area.
Don't test
in that area.
Don't test me. Don't test me.
So basically, we're all sitting down, and we're all just getting lunch, and then there's just a whole table full of really high-profile guests, and one of them is George Takei. And of course, I'm not going to go over there, and I'm not going to say hi during his lunch. But I'm sitting down and I'm just talking with a bunch of my friends about all this kind of random BS. And one of the things I bring up, and by the way, language is about to get a little salty. Me and my friends are very comfortable with our sexuality. And I'll call him a breeder and he'll call me a pig. Because we're friends and we find that funny. And I'm not saying that everyone should be saying it willy-nilly, but as friends, we call each other names all the time. But here's the thing. So I'm explaining this as George Takei walks behind me. Oh yeah, my friends call me faggot all the time, and I just call them breeder. George Takei, I could not see, apparently looked down at me with the most disgusted face.
One of your heroes.
Yes, certainly one of my heroes. And that is my story of Kineticon, where I said faggot in front of George Takei.
And he waved his finger at you and go, oh my. No.
All right, what is your name and what is your question, sir?
My name's Uriah, big fan of everybody on the stage. And I was just wondering, Funimation is doing Dragon Ball Super. It's announced that. What's the biggest role or what's the biggest thing you're looking forward to in Dragon Ball Super?
I'm Goku now.
There's been a few changes.
Yeah. Goku's gonna be way cooler.
More yellier.
I'm hoping Gohan has a much better fate than he did before.
I'm the bearer of bad news, Kyle.
I know.
Oh, I'm not bald this time. That's good.
I've been trying to avoid any spoilers that I can, but of course people get excited and they're like, holy crap, this thing happens! So I know what's coming and I can't tell you how incredibly excited I am. Chris Sabat and I have had some conversations of like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get to be deep. Like we're gonna get to have some like real acting moments. I'm super stoked. And I get to like, flirt with some otherworldly beings, which will be fun too. Make you Jada a little jealous. Not really, but I'll try.
Bulma's got a much bigger part in this show.
Yeah!
You go, woman!
Let's hear it for the girls! Well,
Way to go,
let's hear it for the
Bulmas.
girls. Yeah. What about you guys? Cason? Anything?
I'm still playing this ninja dog called Shu. And I'm looking forward to that very much, so thank you for asking.
All right, what is your name and what is your question?
My name's Brian. First, I gotta apologize to Nick for that can of Vegeta.
It tasted really bad.
I figured this was probably a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Can we get a Popo versus Popo rap battle?
A Popo versus Popo rap battle? Oh dear. Name Mr. Popo, people call me Big P. Rocking around the lookout, you know you're looking at me. Busting down the mortals, keeping up with Tommy. If the bad guys show up, I'ma send them back to mommy. Bam! Well, that's wickety whack. Word to your mother. I got nothing.
So, 8 Mile, this is not.
I am far too white to voice this character. I may as well have been born in a snowstorm.
All right, what is your name and what is your question?
I'm Kristen. I want to know, not just out of Dragon Ball Z, but anything Dragon Ball related, what is your favorite arc you've ever not just acted out, but seen?
Favorite arc? But maybe you didn't work out.
My personal favorite arc is the Demon King Piccolo arc from Dragon Ball. And if you can add to it, the Piccolo Jr., like the last tournament arc, I kind of consider those kind of the same thing because it's all part of that Piccolo storyline. Like that was always my favorite arc as a kid, and it's the one that I kind of latched onto as soon as I, made it through Z and realized, oh, there's stuff that happened before it.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, sorry.
I like the Boo Saga, because I feel like Boo is my spirit animal. Right? He's this big, fluffy dude who's like, I'm cute, but I can kill you. And that's kind of my vibe, really. So I really enjoyed that saga. Plus it got really dark and deep, and I liked it.
Personal favorite arc actually might be the original Saiyan arc. I just feel like, as far as they all go, that one just has so much of what is representative of the entire series from top to bottom. Oh yeah, and it changes a whole lot. But you've got the character development for Piccolo, you've got these huge moments with Goku, you've got the introduction of one of the best villains / anti-heroes in the series, Vegeta. Like, the Saiyan saga is just, I think it's the best example of what Dragon Ball is all about. Like, as an entire entity, and not just, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GZ, and now Dragon Ball Super.
Cool. Let's see. I loved performing Great Saiyaman Saga.
Then, the Otherworld Tournament, it's all that stuff. But I'm also a big fan of the Boo Saga, too. I just love all the different forms of big fluffy guy and then evil muscular guy and all that stuff, even though it's a horrible fate for, spoiler, for Gohan. At least he didn't die. I know, it's just less like, all right, he's gonna become the most powerful being in the DBZ universe, and never mind.
Oh, hi, Vegeta.
Oh, hi, Vegeta, yeah. Oh well, but at least I got to be the narrator. No. So yeah, there's that.
I did act in this saga, but I guess it's more personal for me. It also is the Boo Saga. Partly because my best friend in this world actually is the actor who plays Majin Buu. And we have been best friends for about 22 years, long before we were ever Boo and Satan in the show.
That is super convenient.
Right? So there's a camaraderie that takes place when I go in and record stuff with Boo, because it really is my friend on the other side. It's good times. Yeah, whatever, show. Next person.
Well, it's boring now, but I also like the Boo Saga, but that's because of Josh, too. Oh, yeah. Because we were all in the comedy troupe with Josh, and what I love about it is the next time you hear Majin Buu, just remember, Majin Buu is actually the Pillsbury homeboy. Let me explain.
Yes, please.
We used to do a sketch called Pillsbury Homeboy, where I would slap electric bass behind him, you would...
I would sort of sing backup vocals, some rhythms.
And he would wear this Pillsbury hat with gold chains, and it was kind of like a Run DMC situation. And it would
we turned Pillsbury Doughboy into a gangster rapper.
Right.
And his rival gang was the Keebler Elves.
and by the way, there were some of the dirtiest things in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And he'd be like, with my dough in your mouth. It was really good. That's what we're talking about.
Nothing says loving like the blunts we be puffing.
So that's what the audition was. The next time you hear Majin Buu, that's actually the Pillsbury homeboy. So that's what I'll always remember.
Childhood ruined.
All right, I think we have another question here. What is your name and what is your question?
I'm Mitchell Kaufman, and my question is, seeing as it's recently been announced that you guys have gotten the rights to Dragon Ball Super, I was wondering if recording has started yet.
Maybe.
Anything you're allowed to tell us?
We're all very careful not to say anything because we don't know what we can say, so maybe is about all you get. There's a lot of things out there. I know as soon as the announcement was made, my Twitter was afire with, so how far are you guys in there? And what about the rest of Kai? And this and that and this and that. And I was like, all I can tell you is yay, super! Because nobody wants to step on anybody's toes and ruin any contracts.
Just know that when you ask an actor about the show that they're in, they are always and always the last to know.
Yeah.
Just know that.
What is your name, sir, and what is your question?
My name is Wally. Goku and Beerus have an eat-off. Who wins? Go.
What?
Goku and Beerus have an eat-off. Who wins?
Oh, an eat-off.
An eat-off.
It has to be Goku. I mean, Beerus really likes food, but you see the guy's like emaciated.
I still say Boo. Boo takes
a lot of room. And
Boo
he has,
takes
like,
all that pudding.
He has like an extra dimensional stomach.
Yeah, I think Boo is the only person who could actually out-eat Goku.
Yeah.
And that's why he's the final villain,
right? They should put that in the show.
All right, my mic is out now.
Oh
My name is John.
Hi, John.
I've recently got into amateur voice acting and gotten a couple of roles, like
Congrats.
student number 7. Great roles, but is there any like exercises or things you can do to like help soften up your performance? Like not so harsh. 'Cause I come through a little bit too strong.
Kegels. I was always told that was the first.
I use this really, really cool app, and it's got a really lame name. It's got a microphone on the front, and it's called Vocal Warm-Up. And it allows you to pick the vocal warm-ups that you want to do. Like, I like lip trills, which are the... and then it allows you to do scales and stuff, but it also allows you to pick how high and how low you go. Because this is my natural speaking voice, but if I'm playing Bulma, everything's in this area, and then sometimes I have to go even deeper and talk way down here. So it's good to have everything kind of warmed up. So that's my suggestion, is vocal warm-up. What about you guys?
I have no training or no method or anything to my. I just sit in the car and I turn on some heavy metal or a podcast or something, and I was like, I don't do scales. I don't do. I might now because that sounds fun.
Oh no, he just goes in and he does it.
Yeah.
I know what not to do. Don't drink soda. Don't drink a milkshake or anything dairy, because that will create phlegm and mucus and creates mouth noise on the microphone. That's not good.
Some of my favorite practice has always just been come by like reading children's stories out loud, or just reading anything that like, just practicing your diction and practicing your live reading skills by just, if you're reading something and you're alone or you're in a comfortable environment to do it, just read it out loud to yourself. And I felt that that has helped me significantly, especially in terms of like, you know, doing a cold read.
Whenever I'm about to record for something like an audition from home, my husband looks over and watches me going, and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, hey, I'm warming up. I gotta do this audition. Actually, doing that, it kind of helps. It helps me loosen up my jaw, and I'm like, okay, cool. Now I can get to all the different continents and whatnot.
Tongue twisters as well.
Oh yeah. Red leather, yellow letter, and stuff.
Tip of the tongue, teeth, and the lips.
Yeah.
Helps with diction.
Sir, do you have a pen or a pencil? Write this down. 11 benevolent elephants met Lily and Lucy in Philadelphia and went to see Camelot in unique New York with guns and drums and guns, which they kept in a bodega. They walked miles and miles and miles until they saw Manny and Nancy who danced hand in hand in the sand, until they came across brilliant Italian William from Topeka who kept murmuring, Mamala Papala, Mamala Papala, Mamala Papala. They begged him to join them. William, can't you, won't you, don't you, won't you, did you, will you, could you, William? William simply said, Lily Lolly, then round the rugged rock the ragged rascal ran to be among Culligan and Calla Lilies, and to let his tone hum down as easily as a sigh. You got all that?
Alright, everybody, that's it for Dragon Ball Z. We're out.
No, I'm just kidding.
I had 11 elephants.
They're benevolent.
All right, we have our next question here. What is your name and what is your question?
I'm Jake, and thanks again for coming down, guys. It means a lot. It's been a fun con. And my question for each of you guys is, if each of you gathered the 7 Dragon Balls, what would each be your wish?
That's a good question.
You think I'd have a gopher for this one by now?
I have one. No, what I do is I gather all 7 Dragon Balls, I write a book of how I would want my life to be. When I summon the dragon, I tell him, make my life like it is in this book. Boom, done.
I'd use my wish to negate his wish. I'm not letting you get ahead of me.
really think about this. My first instinct is to say, hey, maybe somebody should have changed Bulma's mind way back in the beginning and she could have stuck it out with Yamcha just to see where that went. Until Battle of Gods, because once the My Bulma happened, my whole outlook on Vegeta changed just a little bit. But yeah, that might be my thing. I wonder what happened with that.
Gosh, I know that I would instantly want to, like, give lots of money to my parents and my family and my friends and people who've supported me through all the years, that's just, I can't think of like, I want to rule the world or I want to have a fancy car and a big mansion. Of course everybody wants all the fancy stuff, but I don't know, I would love to take care in a financial sense or help, that sort of thing.
Wishes are bullshit. That's all I got.
The ability to heal. I would want that. Wishes are.
Wishes are.
the ability to make Chris believe in wishes. All right, what is your name and question?
My name is Rachel, and I was wondering, have any of you actually met any of the Japanese cast or Toriyama himself?
I have met Masuko Nozawa, and I'm terrible with the Japanese names, but the voice actor for Vegeta, voice actor for Piccolo, Videl, and it was a bit intimidating, but also very humbling, to see these people that without them, we wouldn't have this opportunity. So I did a little bit of a little starstruck fanboying for that too. It's like, this was at Animazement a few years ago where they had Sean and myself and Kara Edwards, who's Videl and Goten, and some other people, the main DBZ cast were all there on one stage together. And it's like, this is so cool. This will never, it's on YouTube. You could probably Google the video of it.
Yeah, Hayakawa, which is the Japanese Vegeta I've met several times, he's really awesome. And then Videl and Piccolo, and he told us a story that I thought was brilliant that I really want us to use in the booth. Somebody asked him, like, how do you guys come up with those attacks? Like, everyone sounds so different and unique. How do you come up with these noises that you attack with? And in Japanese, it's like, we look at what's in the studio and we use whatever's in the studio, and they're like, can you give an example? And he's like, okay, so here's a chair. Chair! Chair! And I was like, oh my God, that's brilliant! Why haven't we done that yet?
So many things make sense now.
Microphone!
What's
I've never met any of the Japanese cast, although I would absolutely kill to meet Ryusei Nakao, the voice of Frieza. But not because he voiced Frieza, but because he's the Japanese voice of Yakko Warner. And the best part is, he doesn't change the voice at all. It's amazing.
Didn't somebody remix the Yakko's Yakko's World thing to just have like Frieza dictating the whole thing?
Yes, and it's amazing. And you look up Yakko in Japanese, your mind will be blown. It is Frieza's actor name. It's hilarious.
All right, what is your name and what is your question?
My name's Beck. I was just wondering, well, it doesn't have to be DBZ, but what's the character you enjoyed acting the most, and the toughest and best scene you enjoyed doing that character?
I didn't hear everything.
Sorry, we couldn't hear you.
Keep it on, keep right there, don't move it, right there. First voice acting lesson.
Who's your favorite character you enjoyed doing? And it doesn't have to be DBZ related. And your best scene you enjoyed doing as that character, and the toughest scene you had to act as that character.
Favorite character and toughest scene, and it doesn't have to be DBZ.
Or favorite scene.
That's hard.
I've been doing this for a hot minute, and I've got like 450 roles, so picking one is like picking your favorite baby, and I would be a horrible mom if I did that. That being said, one of my favorite scenes that I've ever done is for a show called Razafon, which is way back in the day in the early 2000s. Thank you! Yay, Razafon! And that was just a really deep show, and I got to play opposite a dear friend of mine, Chris Patton. And so getting to like reenact some of our best acting moments behind a microphone as opposed to on stage was cool.
Still stumped.
Well, all right, I've never, like, this isn't under any official capacity, but one of my favorite characters that I used to voice was Kazuma Kuwabara. I did that in my little Yu Yu Hakusho parody because I felt like I had a good impression of what Sabbath did. And he was always one of my favorite characters. Like, it's one of those characters that I can't help but smile when I'm voicing because I like it.
It made me smile.
I think this is a really good question. So if you guys want to think about it, we can go on to more questions. And if you come up with something later, just feel free to let us know. What is your name and what is your question?
I'm Goku. What are your thoughts on GT?
GT? Because he likes to ask stupid questions.
Okay, look, I liked Gran Turismo too, but after a while,
All right, I have a question here. What proportion of the time do you guys get to actually work in studio together? And what is it like working with each other? Or what is it like trying to get your voice work done without somebody else in the studio that you're responding to?
Well, we always record individually, no matter what. I mean, it'd be really hard to match all those flaps with 5 people in the room.
It's panels like this that allow us to hang out because normally we're one at a time. So right now is that time. It's definitely not when we're recording.
Yeah, so we wish we could, like if it were a cartoon situation where the audio is recorded first and they animate to us, that would be a situation where we'd all be in the room and that's the most fun you can have in a voiceover scene.
I mean, sometimes you do get the luxury of having a scene in which the actor previously recorded and you play off of that, but most of the time it's just you and a director in silence.
Yeah, I was actually gonna mention that. As a relative newbie to the professional voice acting scene, it's always fun to go in there and if no matter what character you're playing in a scene, if you have somebody that you're going against, and in certain cases I've gone up against a character that he's been playing. It's like, oh hey, I'm talking to Kaiser. That's cool. Let's do this. It's kind of it's a unique feeling of not necessarily feeling alone, but still feeling kind of isolated.
I've kind of lucked out because, Sabbath being the director, at least some of our Vegeta and Bulma conversations, he actually will read the lines from the other side of the booth. So even though we're not technically in the same room, we're at least working it out together.
Actually, I'm the director for DBZ, so I'm always getting one-on-ones with my actors. And yeah, it's always really interesting because unlike with being in the booth, I usually get 3 takes of a good 3 usable takes of each line and then move on.
Because what we do is pretty much prelay because we just edit the lip flaps to work with whatever we're writing. So
yeah, so
lucky.
I know.
It's both more and less work. So, but the interesting thing is, I always have to get 3 different takes depending on how the other actor is going to play it. So I'll always be able to mix, match, and Frankenstein. Now, a funny tidbit about that when it comes to actors recording together, that has almost never happened for me. I've never had 2 actors recording at the same time. But there is a sex scene in episode, which one was it?
Okay, there's one where they conceive Trunks, and then there's the
Is that
the one you're going with?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Corinne Sudberg, she plays our Bulma, and well, we have the scene where it's outside of the house, and you hear them having sex, and it's supposed to be this a cold cut to in the middle of them doing it. And so I'm like, okay, and she is this petite little Jewish girl from New York. She's sweet, she's a good actress, but she's also very precocious. And I had to ask her to moan into a mic for me, so I could then put it online for 2 million.
And this is a girl that you consider your little sister.
Yeah, she's like a little sister to me. And so she gets in there and she's like, so, where's Nick?
Yeah, I play Vegeta in the show. I didn't really go over who I play, but
and I'm like, why wouldn't Nick be here? I thought we were going to in the same session. I'm like, no!
Live like that for the rest of your life.
Yeah, no, I'm only gonna have to edit two of my friends having sex together. I cannot do it in real time. It's not happening.
All right, what is your name, sir, and what is your question?
Tyler, could you guys try voicing one of each other's characters?
I was actually kind of curious about that when you mentioned like auditioning for like all those other characters. I was curious what your takes on them were, but...
What was your Goku?
Well, it was so good, I got the part.
You don't remember it from like 17 years ago?
I don't know what I had for lunch yesterday. No. It has something to do with stuff like that.
Right? Sounding constipated?
Yeah.
Well, I've made a majority of like what little career I have doing impressions of a lot of the DBZ cast, so I think I'm mixed on this one.
Yeah, I know. That's why I just started laughing, because I'm like, 90% of the voices I do,
I'm playing Jerome, and I'm basically just trying to be back and forth.
I also play Corin, which has been like voiced by 5 people by now, and almost all the same voice. I play Birdshead, you know, and again, it's another voice that
I play. So many people have been so many of the characters I've played, but yeah, no, like, at this point, I don't know if there's a single character that I played on a show that's not an impersonation of somebody else.
I can impersonate.
Oh yeah, no, let's try Bulma. Hi!
Here, let's go, Mr. Satan, yeah!
Let's go. Everybody's got their own Mr. Satan.
There's only one. It was close. Good try, guys.
I don't have like the kind of resonance you have. Give me ears.
Talk to God. That's not my fault. Yeah.
Ooh, Lanny. Yeah, do his Popo.
Popo. I'm the most racist character in Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, Mr. Popo. Like we did like a like that blue Popo parody where I tried to do a much calmer version of Mr. Popo.
That's about as close as it ever got.
I want to hear you be the narrator, Monica.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z. I think that's as low as my voice goes, which is why I was avoiding the question.
Now I just want an entire version of Dragon Ball all replaced by butch lesbians.
All right, thanks, guys. We have another question here. What is your name, sir? You didn't have the next question. Who had the next question? Stand up and stop making me think it's him. What's your name, sir?
My name is Antonio.
And your question?
What is your favorite attack in Dragon Ball Z? Special attack.
What's your favorite Popo attack?
Anxiety.
Assimilation attack. I'm on a cloud.
The tri-beam is pretty sweet.
Yeah, tri-beam.
I like that.
I like to come in with a little Megaton punch and a dynamite kick. That's all I got. 2 moves.
That sounds good too.
The narrator's pretty much God. He doesn't need an attack because he can step in and start an episode, and then in the middle of it, he can just end it. Next time on Dragon. They finally got to go.
I've been writing while I'm here, and I'm working on a show called Keijo. Have you guys heard of it? So all I can think of right now are my Keijo attacks. So vacuum butt cannon for the win. Vacuum butt cannon is one of the attacks in Keijo.
I believe that is our very own Amber Lee Connors that does that.
She's fantastic.
Yeah, she plays R18.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, she's fantastic. But yeah, it's a show full of boobs and butts.
No, it's got a thumbs up from me.
I'm sure it has a lot of things from a lot of men here.
It's got got some excellent fart noises, kind of just interjected
Perfect.
every once in a while.
Yeah, no, I'm waiting for that April Fool's Day Toonami episode. I've always been very partial to the Gallic gun, just because I just love that scream. Gallic gun, fire! That whole thing's amazing.
Actually, Vegeta's got a lot of attacks. Actually.
He has a lot.
Like out of all the characters,
I think he only uses them like once.
Yeah. I won't lie. The Final Flash is one of the coolest attacks in all that show.
Y'all playing too much Xenoverse.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
You never play enough. Xenoverse 2 available now.
It's one of the first games where I'm actually I'm a creative character voice in that. I couldn't not play it.
Yeah.
Am I your trainer?
You are.
Excellent.
How could you?
Wait, if I'm okay. This is me being vain. Does anyone play Xenoverse 2? Did anyone pick my voice?
Do you know which?
Yay!
Oh, somebody knew who you were without you even saying it.
Yay! Voice 13. I'm the gay one.
I ran into one of your you have like an NPC that gives a quest. I just walk up to it.
Darling.
Yep.
Literally, when you walk up to him, he says, "Darling, darling."
Hey everybody, I'm Danny. So, before or even during your professional careers, did you ever write any fan fiction or make any original characters?
I'm done. This is over.
If you consider a Bridge series fan fiction, then yes.
Anybody else do any fan fiction writing?
I've only read some and then looked the other way because it was bad.
That's a good, complete answer.
I can't read.
I laughed.
So, yeah, right? Terrible people. I'm sorry.
What is
They just feed me the lines through the...
What is your name and your question?
Hi, my name is Allison. So, Dragon Ball Z has had such an incredible longevity. Do you think that you would retire? Because I could imagine it would continue going long in advance. Do you think you would retire before it ends? Like, get out of Dragon Ball Z or just try something else or...
So when we die...
are you telling them to give up?
So you're saying at some point, you think the show will continue on long after we're able to do those voices anymore?
Okay.
Look, Masako Nozawa is in her 80s and she's still killing it. And Ryo Horikawa, Ryo Senaka, Toshio Furukawa, Toru Honda, they are all still in this for the long run, and I'm pretty sure there's not an actor in the show who would give it up until they couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, I'll do it until, for sure, until you can't do it.
Exactly. I mean, now that Disney owns Star Wars, they're like, we're going to make Star Wars movies until, for eternity. So I'm like, well, if the fan base is there, the demand is there, they're going to continue it, long after we die. But, if we have say in it, and we're going to be in there as long as we can, I know I would, yeah.
No doubt.
I wonder what that last recording would sound like when we all decide it's probably over for Isaac. I have an opinion!
Shut up! And the champ again.
I give up!
Hey, Mr. Piccolo! Dad, I heard the great Saiyan Man.
Now all of a sudden Piccolo starts sounding a lot more like Kami.
I think it was just like a cast of Master Roshis all of a sudden. Yeah, I'm McFarlane and I do an old guy voice.
I'll finally catch up to
I'm perverted.
All right, we have our next question here.
Not the character.
What's your name and what's your question?
Hi, my name is Mike. My question is for Cal Hebert.
Yes?
Who did you prefer between Gohan and Kamina? And could you give us a Kamehameha, please?
Do a Kamehameha? Oh my gosh. Who did I like better, Gohan or Kamina? Kamina is a pretty awesome character in Gurren Lagann, but spoiler, he's not around very long, so I'll say Gohan. my character in DBZ is still alive, so that's good. No, but one that really had a powerful resonance. But it's like apples and oranges, you know. It's kind of like DBZ is its own thing. So it's really hard to pick. It's really hard to pick. But with screaming on DBZ, let me just say this: that it helped. It was training ground for now what I do a lot more of, which is video games. And a lot of the video games now require a lot of screaming, power-up yells, magic attacks, the death and destruction and gore and all that stuff. And when people say, okay, now you're gonna have to scream, I'm like, it's okay, I worked on Dragon Ball Z. Okay, good. Now, your character's on fire, give me 10 takes. Like, no. All that stuff, yeah. So, yeah. I'm lightheaded now. I'm gonna take a nap.
What is your name and what is your question, sir?
My name's Matthew. This is a two-parter for Nick and Chris Cason. How did you come up with Popo's personality? And Chris, what did you think of the abridged Popo's complete different personality from the...
I'll tell you why we came up with the Mr. Popo that we have now. Because our Popo is vastly different from the true Popo. There is this filler scene in the Boo arc where Goten and Trunks wake up on the lookout and they go out to the, like, they've never been there before. They're like, what is this place, huh? And they look around the corner and they see Mr. Popo. They instantly turn Super Saiyan and start attacking him full force. Meanwhile, he's blocking them with one hand. And I'm just like, how strong is this guy? When Raditz showed up, he could have taken the... Done. How many things could he have fixed in an instant if he's like taking care of two Super Saiyans? Granted, children, but two Super Saiyans nonetheless. So we decided to make him this like sort of true neutral, just not caring monster of a character. Like, he's been around for time immemorial, and he's just like grown tired of everything about life, and he's just going to live his life and let everything else happen around him because he realizes nothing can hurt him. So that's how he turned into our Mr. Popo.
What was the question? What you thought of Abridged Popo, like when you first saw him or whatever?
I think it's very funny.
Thank you.
I mean, it underscores what I always thought of him anyway, which is, I mean, this guy's powerful. How powerful? That powerful. So for me, it was just like, yes, that's what I'm thinking too. He is that powerful. He has a little garden, etc., etc. Yeah, I think it's hilarious.
You see him training with Goku as like one of the first scenes with him. He's never touched once. Goku never touches him.
No. And he keeps that sweet jewelry on, it's good.
Exactly.
All right, what is your name and what is your question?
My name's Eileen, and my question is for the only woman on stage. And
Sorry, guys.
Since you referenced translating earlier, si debería que cambiar algo sobre su personalidad para ser más como lo de Bulma, ¿qué sería y por qué? If you had to change something about your personality to be more like Bulma's personality, what would it be and why?
Si yo soy inteligente, pero no más que Bulma, porque ella es un scientist, porque yo no sé, I don't know how to say scientist in Spanish. But yeah, basically, if I was going to change anything about my personality, I would have paid a lot more attention in school, in science and math, because she's so brilliant, and she doesn't make a big deal out of it. She's not the one going, hey, you guys, you know that time machine that saved it? That was me.
No, she just creates a thing that can track a energy that's coming out of an orb that she found randomly.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that is the one thing that I'm like, she's so strong in that sense. That is her strength, is that she's so incredibly smart, she's so creative. So yeah, I would have paid a lot more attention. I'm definitely more chill than she is. She gets very, we joke all the time because Bulma is the one character that when you watch just the animation, she'll go from like, just really, really sweet sweet. And then the next line is just like this. And then the next line is like, I'm sad. Her animation changes so much just in like 3 lines. So I have to try and match that energy. So she's very draining, but...
Women, am I right?
She is very much like me in that respect. But yeah, I would have paid a lot more attention in math and science so that I could build, you know, time-traveling machines and stuff. That'd be awesome.
Cool. Next question. What is your name and what is your question?
I'm Goku Black, and I just have a question for all of you. Recently, there's been a new villain called Goku Black, in case you guys have not known. But I just want to hear a personal opinion on what you think of him as a villain compared to the others.
Anybody got any opinions about Black Goku?
Well, we certainly do.
First of all, I'm in Detroit. I don't have an opinion about Black anything. Second, no, honestly, Goku Black is a fascinating idea because, okay, funny enough,
it really pissed you off because you made a bet with a friend of ours, Taka, who was saying like, no, they're gonna do an evil Goku arc, and he's like, no, they wouldn't stoop to that. They stooped to it.
At least the way that they did it wasn't what.
No. It was like honestly the way they tackled it up until like the whole time paradox thing was fine.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but the way that Goku Black actually comes about is fascinating. As far as him as a character goes, okay, like I'm not gonna you know talk shit about a show that it's really difficult because
we love Dragon Ball, but it has many flaws.
Yes.
Can we just admit that?
I noticed silence from stage left. All right, we're done with that question, aren't we? Yeah. What is your name and what is your person?
I haven't seen that yet.
What is your name? What is your name and what is your question?
Hi, my name is Jacob, and I know we've already asked what was your favorite arc, but my question is, what is your favorite moment in all of Dragon Ball Z? Or just Dragon Ball in general?
It honestly, like, and I'm sure this is a lot of people's, and it's kind of cliche, but it's gotta be the moment Goku goes Super Saiyan. Like, that's the part that, it was the first thing that hooked me. It is the thing that I think of when I think of Dragon Ball Z.
There's a moment in the Otherworld tournament where Gohan, my version of Gohan, goes Super Saiyan 2, I guess. And the tournament tiles are levitating and his eyes roll back in his head, and it's like the first time you see him in that form at that age. Whoa, you know, just power up. It's like, wow, that's wicked. That just stuck with me.
I think for me, it was Battle of Gods because, you know, we never heard very much about their relationship between Vegeta and Bulma. You just get a Trunks and then they're like, woo, they're together? So to see him fight for his family, and my fiance likes to point out, you know, Bulma did something that Goku couldn't do, which was land a hit on Beerus. Granted, she got hit back. Jerk. But the My Bulma moment and watching him kind of sing the bingo song and all this stuff to save his family, like, that was pretty cool.
Actually, my favorite moment in all of Dragon Ball is one of the very first. I love the scene where Bulma and Goku meet. I think it's adorable, I think it's hilarious, and it's really kind of amazing because everything starts with Bulma almost, okay, whether or not you're reading the manga or watching the anime, she either almost hits him with his car or hits him with her car and then shoots him in the head. And it's this fantastic scene, and every time I go back to Dragon Ball, that's it. That's the most charming, it's the beginning, and I love it. I can't forget it.
My favorite scene is that time I took a bath with the big fat pink guy. And DBZ, Boo and Satan take a bath together inside of a house that Boo made from candied people. He spews out this house, and yeah, so we live in a candy people house. It's got a nice spa though. It's got a nice hot tub in it. I'm not sure how that happened.
I like any scene involving my favorite DBZ character, Poir. And I also, thank you. And I also like equally any scene from that amazing live-action Dragon Ball Z movie. Right? Am I right?
Like that fight between Geeko and Fuller? Oh man!
See what you just did? They're leaving now.
Free speech rules.
All right, sir, what is your name and what is your question?
Jason, and of all the transformations and all the fusions that are in Dragon Ball Z, which one is your favorite?
Goku. It happened.
My favorite is from a what-if scenario in Budokai 1, and it is when Cell accidentally absorbs Krillin. And he just like looked around like, why? He's like a little orange Cell. For some reason, I guess Krillin turned him orange. The size of a Cell Jr., and it's hysterical. And he had like one of my favorite lines, like, oh, I don't want to beat up Yamcha, it's just not fair. Like he had this weird enunciation that I just loved.
Actually, I really, really dig Super Saiyan 3. I don't know, there's something about that hair that just makes him look so metal.
All right, are we ready for our next question? What is your name and what is your question?
Hello, I'm Chris. What's your favorite Dragon Ball game?
Budokai 3.
Budokai 3.
Is that the one that has the legend of Hercule in it?
It might.
Well, that was my favorite. Because I'm a narcissistic bastard.
I liked Xenoverse too because I actually got to say more than push A to do this, push B to do that. I was like, oh, I actually get to like talk to people. Awesome. I still want to fight though. I know that's not my shtick, but I still want to fight.
Funny enough, the only Dragon Ball game in which Bulma is a playable, like, fighting character is the Dragon Ball Evolution game. I know. And she's shooting guns. She plays like Deadpool in Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
And Yuri Lowenthal, who is here this weekend, was Goku in
Yep.
that game. It's like, wow. Crazy.
Actually just finished playing that because we do like a little Dragon Ball celebration every November and December, and like to do that we like just play a whole bunch of Dragon Ball video games, and then in December we like count down some of our favorite Dragon Ball stuff, just celebrate the show.
It's Ian Sinclair!
This is Dragon Ball Z panel. I'm not Dragon Ball Z. I'm super.
Aww. Come on, sit down.
Do you want to come
Sit
and
right
sit down,
here.
Ian?
I'm eating later.
What time? Soup? Does that make you a super?
It's only fitting that you stand above us and eat your soup very judgingly.
What kind of soup you got there? It smells good.
Chicken pot pie.
That's pretty good. Chicken pot pie.
Comforting this year. This is great.
All right, I think it's time for another question. What is your name and what is your question?
Sienna, and if you could be any species from the DBZ universe, which would you be?
Any species?
Yes, a dog, King Furry.
I honestly, just for like the amount of things that they can do, I'd probably want to be a Majin. Just like they can shapeshift, they can do a whole lot of things that you just like, because they're made of magic. That's so cool.
Yeah, I'd probably have to go with Majin too. I feel like all the, in this universe games, there are all these big old fat boo type characters, but I kind of can't help but feel like, considering the way that the Majin are supposed to work, that they could probably not do that if they didn't want to.
Maybe next time, Dimps.
Species, huh? Namekian. Piccolo was the first character I saw when I finally got to see Dragon Ball Z, because I first learned about the Dragon Ball saga by reading it in a magazine that no longer exists called America. And their cover story was all about Dragon Ball. And it's like, this sounds really intriguing. And then I finally caught an episode. That was the show that taught me how to program my VCR. Because otherwise, it was flashing 12 for years. So yeah, tape it at 4:30, 6 in the morning or whatever, and I hit play, and it missed a few minutes of it, but there's Piccolo fighting somebody, and his arm gets blown off. It's like, that's cool. I'm in.
All right, what is your name and what is the next question?
Hello, my name's Caleb, and I was wondering if you can meet any character from any anime or DBZ, who would it be and what would you ask them?
If we could meet any character from any show or DBZ, what would we ask them? Who would you want to meet and what would you want to ask them?
Any character from anything ever?
Anything ever.
I think you specified anime.
If you believed in wishes, who would you meet?
Holy moly, there's a lot of anime. I'm gonna say Totoro. You know, because he looks like he's like a big, giant, lovable love sack. Like you could just lay on him and take a nap. He could reach things that I can't reach without getting a step stool. Like I just think he'd be really cool. I wouldn't have to ask him anything because his answer would be so.
Spike from Cowboy Bebop. Because Steve Bloom is my hero. I want to be him when I grow up.
All right. What is your name and what is your question?
My name is Nathan. First, Lanny, I've been forgetting to tell you, the voice for Xenoverse 2, it took a little bit to grow on me, but now I kill anyone who has it. Because there can be only one.
Sorry, there was a lot of like echo on that one, and it was like very distorted from here.
Sorry. I was saying, like, I picked your voice for Xenoverse 2, and like, it took a little bit to grow on me with the final flash, but on Trucker Lanny for life. And I kill anyone who has it because there could be only one.
Thank you.
But my main question is, you said you can really only hear antfish from Dodoria. Will that come to a point with Hercule?
I don't know yet. It all really depends. Like this man, like he is like to me. You are Mr. Satan. I don't think there will ever be anything else that can.
I'm no short of having begged you guys a few times.
And I swear to God, I have read contracts that state if you did that, you would be screwed over, man.
Not in my contract.
Well, I do have a plan for we do have a plan for a cameo for you. So do hold tight on that one. Honestly.
Awesome. All right, sir, what is your name and what is your question?
My name is Ricky, and my question is, what's your guys' favorite fight scene out of all of DBZ? I know that's extremely hard, but if you could pick one.
Out of Z, mine would probably have to be Goku Vegeta, first time.
Actually, mine's probably Piccolo versus Android 17. I love that fight.
That one is really good. It's really well animated.
Yeah.
I didn't see any of the fights because I wasn't there. Usually, it's like in that whole Resurrection F thing when they asked me all that trivia about Frieza, even though Bulma never met Frieza. I was like, jerks. But I really do love, and he's here, so he'll love this. I loved in the beginning of Resurrection F when they're trading with Whis, and he's like eating and doing his one-handed thing the whole time, like, you guys can't get me. Because he's such a badass. He's not even paying attention. He's back there not even paying attention. I was complimenting you and your badassery.
Go back to eating your Dragon Ball Super.
I tell him this joke from off stage. He looks at me and goes, what are you doing? And I go, super. And he giggles, and then you take my joke? You take my joke?
The good ones know who to steal from, sucker.
My favorite fight is when I took down both Goku and Vegeta at the same time.
Yeah. By the way, every time you lean over like that, and this is not a compliment, nor is it a criticism. I was gonna say every time you lean over like that, I'm just expecting to know, Carl. I mean, Dragon Ball Super Carl. Coral.
Super Coral. Super. Good seeing you.
Good seeing you too, sir.
Good hanging out with you last night.
Absolutely.
Good time.
Have to do that more.
Yeah, we really do.
All right.
Super.
No, on Twitter I posted Big Al's, hey, I'm super, thanks for asking. And after that, Funimation probably.
And fight scenes. Resurrection F has another big, great fight scene where all the characters get to shine. When all of Frieza's force just, this big glut of fighters come out, and it's like, oh, that's awesome. It's like, if you thought that Battle of the Gods didn't have enough action, Resurrection F really pumped up the action on that.
Yeah,
really
no,
delivered.
That was a fight scene I think people had wanted for so long, because Dragon Ball is always, one-on-one, 2 characters for 10 episodes. And then that movie was like, no, this is a battle royale between them and 100 guys, and it's so good.
Everyone's gonna have their moment.
It's also the most divisive point between those 2 movies, because Dragon Ball Battle of Gods is more like just big fan service to all of the longtime fans, and then Resurrection F is like for all the people that just really grew up loving all of the action scenes, which is where a huge divide comes in, because he and I, we really like Battle of Gods. We think we personally like it more than Resurrection F, and a whole lot of people disagree with us and discount us. They're 2 completely different movies.
They are. It's like the comedy is focused in Battle of the Gods, and it's a legitimately funny movie. Not that the Resurrection F comedy is bad, it's just, I think it's better at delivering action. So there's the comedy, there's the action. Just like Dragon Ball was more comedy focused, and Z's more action focused.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, it's about time for us to get on out of here, but I want to do one last question. So, sir, what is your name and what is your question?
Hi, my name is Derek Padula. My question is, we've been doing, Dragon Ball has been around for 31 years now. Why is it that this show is still so beloved by fans, and why do you love it?
I always had a theory on this one, and I thought because it has a lot of anime tropes in it, but it was doing it before they were tropes. So it was kind of like the progenitor of a lot of these shonen sort of amazing action-based shows. You have the hero who fights the villain, and the villain eventually becomes a friend or an anti-villain kind of character, and there's just something so timeless about the story. And it just kind of resonates with a lot of anime fans, especially ones growing up watching, the later shonen shows, and they go back and see Z, and they're like, oh wow, yeah, this is actually, this is where it all kind of came from,
Yeah, the character of Goku is one of the first of his type that you see. There is now the Goku type in shonen action heroes.
Yeah, I think it's the characters. I honestly think that those characters are so, even down to the smallest characters, they're 3-dimensional, they're fleshed out, they're whole. I feel like you could take any character in those universes and create them give them their own show, and it would be interesting and you'd want to watch it because those characters are all so different and creative. So yeah, I think that the main thing is it's characters that people can relate to and actually want to be around and want to watch.
The thing that I've noticed that's common with fans, every con I go to and everything, is how much they've been inspired by watching Dragon Ball. It's affected their career choice, or it's helped them get through a tough time in their lives or something like that. When it really reaches beyond just entertainment and it touches you on a personal, emotional level, that's why something resonates. And that's why I think it's here to stay.
All of that, absolutely. Everything the 2 of them just said, I couldn't add anything better or more to that, for sure.
Well, I guess I couldn't either.
Well, maybe you could. You're a better man than I.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give another hand